I watched the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his two roommates said was, they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes. Mm-hmm. He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary.
I just feel like spiritually, it caused the world to unify over something that was bad. Like it's almost like it kind of released something into the atmosphere. I don't know. I just feel like his death prompted something very bad to happen after that. And the media kept saying, oh, you guys can protest and you won't catch the Peter pandemic. You won't catch it. I was just like, wait a minute. All these folks together, they won't catch it. But if I go to my grandmother's house, she gonna die. So it just seemed like it was like a setup to get everything that happened after that from it.
George Floyd! George Floyd! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
If you really want to get deep on a spiritual level, right? And you start looking and you start saying, when you look and you read, you read the books, the Bible, the Quran, all those type of things, and they talk about the breath, right? And they say that even in the Bible, it says that God breathed into Adam the breath of life. Mm-hmm. And that breath being, if you look at the actual Hebrew word, that it's actually like a piece of the spirit of God. And now, at the same time that happened, the whole world masked themselves.
Yes.
The whole world put masks on themselves, which, whether you want to, you have to admit that shortens your breath. And then if you believe in the power of words and you believe in the manifestation that you can bring from words, you had people chanting, I can't breathe.
Original Hebrew, YHWH. Over time, we added an A and an E to get YAHWEH, presumably because we have a preference for vowels. But scholars and rabbis have noticed that the letters YHWH represents breathing sounds or aspirated consonants. When pronounced without intervening vowels, it sounds like breathing. YH is the inhale, WH is the exhale. So a baby's first cry, his first breath, speaks the name of God. A deep sigh calls his name, or a groan or a gasp that is too heavy for mere words mentions God's name. Even atheists speak his name, unaware that their very breath is giving acknowledgement to God. Likewise, a person leaves this earth with their last breath when God's name is no longer filling their lungs.
So you physically shortened your breath, which is your connection to God, and then you manifested it, you proclaimed it, saying you couldn't breathe. I look at that. We've been talking a whole bunch. These things go all type of ways, and I think that these rituals are played out on big scales and small scales. Yes. And if you can, like I said, look at the end result. If my end result was from some type of evil plot, and I could get everybody to start limiting their godlike potential, I would mask them and I would have them walking around saying, I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
And after that, think about it. Now that you have 5 billion people that took the jab, I look at the whole scene. I look how much attention it got. And I just kept saying to myself, something doesn't seem right. Cause I said it looks staged. I kept saying it looks like it's staged. I said, just because the way the cameras were set up, the officers just standing there, it just didn't look right. And we fast forward, and it's literally been chaos ever since then. Like since that event, since the riots, since the global chants of I Can't Breathe, since the mask, it has been literal chaos in the world. I mean, it's like it's nuts. And so I wouldn't be surprised if that particular event kind of ushered in something on a spiritual level, some kind of, I don't know, maybe some kind of dark force. If you think about it, if you limit the breath of God in the world, like if you limit God's breath from people breathing, then you kind of, the forces of evil aren't held back, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like that kind of protection is kind of going away if the breath gets diminished. So it would make sense for all these folks to mask up and some be able to push through, I guess, some kind of invisible barrier. And now we got chaos.
I mean, look at the end result. That's the end result of it. And, you know, we're talking about power. We're talking about people with a tremendous amount of power. So I look at it and I say, well, I don't put, you know, these days, I don't put anything past anybody. That's all.
First word you ever spoke when you came out of your mother's womb was the name of God. And the last word you'll ever speak, you don't have to try to remember, do I want to say a prayer before I die? You're going to anyway. That last breath you take on your deathbed will be the name of God.